Welcome back into Boston has entered the chat. Look at that. Steve Buckley, who will be joining us momentarily. This is his Hall of Fame vote ballot, you guys. What do we think?
Well, I think that they need to change how they do this so I can actually see it. Can they see
I pulled it up on my mic. I'll read it to you.
No, please, maximize that for me,
Buck's
please.
ballot, he voted, his check marks, Carlos Beltran.
Okay.
Andrew Jones, you remember him?
I would put him in.
Andy Pettit.
I would put him in.
Jimmy Rollins. Chase Utley of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. David Wright, and saving the best for last, of course, Dustin Pedroia.
Hell yeah, Dustin
He did
Pedroia.
not, however.
What about Felix Hernandez?
There's no Manny Ramirez. There's no Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, he's not a steroid
There's
guy?
no Rick Porcello.
Yeah. Well, I'm just Cy Young Award winner, though.
Cy Young Award winner. Remember it well.
We need Rick Porcello in the Hall of Fame. We can talk to Buck about this right now. Joining us right now is Steve Buckley of The Athletic. We will break down this Hall of Fame ballot. Hello, Buck. How are you today?
You know what's funny is that I just took my dogs out for a walk and I took the cap off, so my hair's all messed up, and my ballot, the way you showed it, looks like I slept in it. So I'm really a lot neater than I'm presenting myself right now, so bear with me.
Hey, you look good, sir.
You look phenomenal, Buck, as always. Take us through your Hall of Fame ballot.
Well, I mean, I wrote a column on For The Athletic last week in which I announced that everybody's ballot sucks. I mean, no matter how and who you vote for, somebody somewhere is going to stand up and say, this is a terrible ballot, this person shouldn't vote. You're either a big hall guy or a small hall guy. And if you're a big hall guy, you get dismissed as a fanboy who thinks everybody should be in. So I guess I tilt in that direction, though nobody's ever accused me of being a fanboy. I just think that if you look throughout history, going all the way back to the original Hall of Fame, maybe not the original, but there are always, every few years, some marginal candidates get in. So it's not something new that we put players in with less than sterling compared with Willie Mays and Babe Ruth credentials. So in that spirit, I voted for the guys I voted for. I'm a big fan of the new fangled War 7, in which you take a player's peak 7 years and ask yourself if over those 7 years this player was a Hall of Famer, and that's why I vote for like David Wright, Pedroia, and Rollins.
Well, let's go to Pedroia, because I think there are a lot of people with local bias that would say, yeah, Hall of Famer, when in reality maybe the numbers fall a little bit short. Unfortunately, look, if not for Manny Machado, he was certainly on a Hall of Fame track, and then the injuries just derailed everything those last few years of his career. But is he, I know you voted for him, but in terms of the masses, does he get decent consideration?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for the masses, and he is getting decent consideration. The problem is he's not getting overwhelming consideration. And, you know, decent consideration is, right, if you go to the Hall of Fame tracker that you can look up, that Ryan Thibodeau does out in the Bay Area, I think he's at, what is he, 16%, I think, the last time I checked. So maybe high, maybe in the 20s. I take that back. So he's getting a look, and players, they do go up over the years. Beltran's numbers have gone up considerably. Bert Blyleven was so upset by his first vote total that he announced, don't vote for me, don't vote for me. And of course they did vote for him, and he got in. So he may be one of those players that takes a very slow, steady climb and winds up in the Hall of Fame. But it is definitely an uphill battle for him.
Steve, are you getting in your car, going to Cooperstown, all excited to hear Jeff Kent's speech? The same guy that literally people intentionally walked Barry Bonds to face is now going to the Hall of Fame. To me, good player, not a great player, Hall of Famer, but you get a vote.
Hall of very good, right?
I don't like the Hall of very good. There's two things I don't like. The Hall of very good, and this one, worst of all, if you have to ask if he's a Hall of Famer, he's not, which is a clever way of saying I refuse to do my homework. Because anybody can vote for Tom Seaver, Willie Mays, Henry Aaron, and so forth. You got to try a little harder and look at these numbers. And Joe, I can't argue on the Jeff Kent thing, except that pretty much anybody who's up in and around Barry Bonds would get walked to avoid Barry Bonds. Look at his on-base percentage and the power numbers that Barry Bonds had. Obviously, the on-base is because of all the walks, but you could put anybody in the lineup with Barry Bonds, and they would get a longer look than Barry Bonds would. So your argument is clever, but not founded in reality.
Well, speaking of Barry Bonds, Buck, where do you fall on steroid guys being in the Hall of Fame?
Well, I'm just like everybody else. I'm wildly inconsistent. I came around on Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens because there were no real rules in place. It was the Wild Wild West. And I changed my vote after Bud Selig retired and went on a bullet train directly to the Hall of Fame. And yet he was the presiding commissioner when all this was going on. And baseball was growing in leaps and bounds. And in point of fact, an entire ad campaign was built around the home run. Chicks dig the long ball. and Major League Baseball was capitalizing on that. So I did vote for Bonds. I did vote for Clemens. I came around on Sheffield. I do not vote for Manny Ramirez and A-Rod simply because all the rules have been posted on the bulletin board by then. Don't go into the pool for 1 hour after eating. You remember that when you were a kid. And those two guys blatantly violated those rules. And keeping in mind the reality that lots of steroid users and PED users are in the Hall of Fame, these two did so in defiance of legislation. So I don't vote for them.
Well, Manny Ramirez last year on the ballot. Alex Rodriguez, he's halfway through. You look at the tracker that you acknowledged, and these guys are both sitting in the low to mid 40s in terms of percentages of the vote. So once this, I don't think A-Rod's getting in. Once this thing ultimately goes to the Veterans Committee and all of that, how does all of this unfold for some of these, these guys, specific cheaters, as you outlined, but even some of the alleged cheaters?
Well, I mean, we're already getting hints, given that Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds have been on a couple of these committees and have not passed muster. This most recent one, they are not on the ballot again for another 3 or 4 years. And if they don't get X number of votes, I don't have the numbers in front of me, they may be done. Now, who's to say they won't change the rules in 20 or 30 years? One thing we know is that the younger voters tend to be more forgiving of this stuff than the older voters. I'm an older voter who has been forgiving on it. So I guess which makes me really cool. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that these guys face an uphill battle on these veterans committees because they are not younger, hip voters. They are older Hall of Famers and owners and baseball executives and a couple of writers and historians thrown in. So the trend isn't looking good for a lot of these guys.
All right, Steve, when I heard you were coming on the show, I've had this thing I've been brewing up, and you're the guy to answer the question. My whole life, I heard about the 1967 Red Sox, how special it was, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
This Patriots team is special. This year, it's special, man. Nobody thought this. So I ask you, Steve Buckley, what's a better run, the 67 Red Sox or this Patriots team that is about to actually potentially go to the Super Bowl and went to the championship game?
Yeah, but what was it like covering the 67 Sox on the beat?
If it's all about winning championships, which it is, then you'd have to go with the Patriots in that runoff against the impossible dream Red Sox. But in a column I wrote for The Athletic yesterday, I referred to the 2025 Patriots as the implausible dream Patriots. And the impossible dream was 100 to 1. Nobody on heaven's earth gave them any chance whatsoever. I agree that no one gave this year's Patriots a chance, except that it's much more likely to see that kind of turnaround in football. Let me go back to the 96 Jaguars, second year in the league. They make the playoffs, and I covered this game, believe it or not. They went out to Denver and beat the Denver Broncos at Mile High in their second season. And then, of course, they lose to the Patriots a week later in Foxborough. But football, because of the parity that's designed to be in place, there's a greater chance of that happening in football than happens in baseball. So in the absence of the Patriots winning a Super Bowl, in the runoff that you're describing, I'm going to stay with my dream team from when I was an 11-year-old kid in Cambridge, the 67 Red Sox.
Okay. If the Patriots go on to the Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl this year, Do you think we are on the cusp of another dynasty? Does this group?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
No, I do. I mean,
simple.
One thing we don't talk enough about, I've heard you talk about it, Joe. It isn't just Drake May, it isn't just Rabel, although that's all we write. They did bring in a pretty good haul of new players for this season in the free agent market. So that would suggest that the building blocks, that the smart people are in place to continue to add to the roster, keeping in mind the schedule will be harder next year. Even if you don't get too locked into the cupcake schedule thing that was in place this year, it will be a tougher schedule next year. But because I'm bullish on management and their ability to restock the roster, I think that barring injury, we could be on the cusp of a good 5 or 6 year run here.
So I would have expected a lower scoring game similar to Patriots-Chargers against the Texans. Now, the weather played into that, turnovers played into that, short fields, that type of thing. But again, you've got a matchup now of two very good defenses, elite defenses between the Pats and the Broncos. So are we expecting something that's, kind of a slog, kind of a rock fight? What are you anticipating?
I think so, but I would throw out Sunday's game, not to take anything away from New England's victory, but I mean, I was there. I usually take a walk around the stadium and on the upper level right before the game starts. And it was cold, it was windy, and the field was slippery, the ball was slippery. Not to make excuses for Stroud or anybody else, but that was a tough game to play in. So to break that game down statistically and use it as a measuring stick for what's going to happen this coming weekend is a little problematic because of the conditions. And, the Patriots did a better job with those conditions, as they should. They're the outdoor team. They're the Northeast team. The Texas is the dome team. So I understand all that, but I would throw out Sunday's game as a measuring stick.
Steve, I know you're such a historian of sports. I happened to look it up recently. Now that Jarrett Stidham's getting the start this week, Taylor Heineke did it against Tom Brady in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Frank Reich back in 1992 helped the Buffalo Bills get to the Super Bowl. Are there any other revenge spots you can think of that are similar to what Jarrett Stidham's facing against his former team in a championship game?
No, I mean, those are the ones that come right to mind. To throw in the 67 Red Sox, Gary Wesluski, 10 years in the minors, did get he didn't win, but he pitched pretty well decently for the Red Sox in the 67 World Series. But I'll throw a hockey one at you. There was a certain goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens in the spring of 1971 who really closed the door on the very best offensive Bruins team in history. So there's all, you know who I'm talking about, right?
71. Who was it in 71? I can't remember. No.
Oh, I'm going to let the readers send an email.
No, now I'm going to get crushed for not knowing who it is. So you got to tell me.
I'm not going to tell you. It's a Hall of Fame goaltender.
We got to look it up.
Out of America, look it up. It's crazy. This guy is
Ken Dryden.
Thank you.
Don't let him pretend he knew that. This is why we have these earpieces.
Okay.
No. Get it fed that information.
Researchers on
He didn't know. Don't let him pretend.
I asked the question and set myself up there, Steve. So good on you, bro.
I don't think I would have done that in 10 million years.
So before we get to the
I was 15 years old in 1971, and what Ken Dryden did against the Bruins, and he was he had like a palm full of NHL experience, and he just went out there and destroyed Bobby Orr and the Big Bad Bruins, and it's like I want to hate Ken Dryden, but he was such a gentleman and such a good guy. God rest him. And also was as a little trivia, was the analyst in Lake Placid sitting next to Al Michaels in the gold in the Soviet game in 1980. So, so there's an example. The difference being that Dryden was a highly touted rookie goaltender versus Stidham, who's a journeyman who hasn't played much in the last couple of years. And but if you look through the files, you'll find a lot of very good quotes about Stidham from Josh McDaniels, from Belichick, from Brady. They all had good things to say about him. So maybe we shouldn't dismiss him so lightly.
Guys have thrown an NFL pass since 2023, so it has been a little while, obviously. Before we get to the Red Sox.
He's rested.
Yeah,
That's
he's
right.
very rested.
Exactly.
Before we talk Boston's offseason here, the Red Sox offseason, what do you anticipate? Do the Patriots win this game, get to the Super Bowl? And if so, who's on the other side?
Oh, I just assume it's a Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl at this point. And I'll give you a little thing. I will not be there if they make the Super Bowl, because I was, with the job change I've had within the confines of The Athletic, I do lots of different things now. I'll be at the Olympics in Milan for the Super Bowl, which means that the only there's three people who've seen every championship this century. One is me, one is Dan Shaughnessy, and the other is Barry Chen, who's a photographer at the Globe. And if the Patriots go to the Super Bowl and win it, I will not be there, which means you'll be getting a coffee table book from Dan Shaughnessy and Barry Chen. So you can look forward to that.
In on that.
Oh, my. Yeah, that's really amazing. Wow. Well, going back to another amazing thing is the Red Sox offseason. Are they going to do anything else, specifically with their rotation, their pitching rotation? They now have a surplus of pitchers. Are they going to make any other moves before the season starts?
I think they will. I just don't know what it is. And if you ask me to be specific, I'd just be guessing. But, I mean, what we do know is they have depth in pitching, which sounds a little weird considering the lack of depth they had going into the postseason last year, number one. And number two, they have a surplus of outfielders. There's been talk forever that Jarrett Stidham would be traded, because of his contract, it's attractive to a team that gets him. He's also a really good ball player, so that they could move a Durant into a pitcher in terms of getting a right-handed bat. But we'll see. They've been very surprising throughout the postseason. I was certain that they'd bring back Bregman. And I am not necessarily a big fan of good clubhouse guy and all that, except that you couldn't not notice it last season. With all the young players they had coming up, with the lack of leadership that had been in evidence the years before, I thought Bregman was an outstanding pickup last season. And I can't believe they let him go over stuff that I thought might be easily negotiated. So I don't think they made a good move there by not making that move.
I think he left, Steve. I'll leave it at that, as he left. But I do have my Drake May background on my phone. That's the new thing now. So it's what all the kids are doing. When is the old-time baseball game, so I can put it in my calendar this year?
How dare you?
I heard you had some big timers there this year.
I don't have a date yet. Unfortunately, there's other things. I have to wait for the Patriots preseason schedule. I have to wait to see when the Nesson Red Sox Jimmy Fund telethon is, because we try to do it in concert with all these different things. We tried to do it the day after the telethon last year because Brock Holt was going to play, but then the game got rained out to the next night, and we knew we wouldn't get Brock Holt if we waited a day. But we did get Rich Hill, which became a national story because 3 weeks earlier he was pitching in the big leagues for the Royals, and 3 weeks later he's pitching in the old-time baseball game. So I don't know what we're going to do yet, but we've got some pretty good plans in place.
We'll get you on before.
Right. We look forward to that, and we'll have you back on to talk about that or anything else if you'd like to join us anytime. Buck, thank you so much.
Open invite.
For an open invite, of course. Obviously, you're a legend. Steve Buckley of The Athletic, thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you soon. Coming up here on Boston Has Entered the Chat, we will hear from you. We will hear from all of you and your voicemails and more coming up next right here on Boston Has Entered the Chat.